Hi, and welcome to Internet Marketing, the SEO podcast of unknown secrets.
That's what's up. Welcome back, y'all. Another fun-filled Friday. Unknown secrets of
SEO
something
podcast. This is podcast number 97. My name is Chris Burris, owner of eWebStyle.
I'm Paul Hansen, sales manager, eWebStyle.
We are so glad to have you guys back. Do not forget, we are your friendly neighborhood top position snatchers. And we say one of our mottos is don't be a douche, and if you're lucky, we'll punch you in the face.
Yes.
So here's a big old punch in the face to all of you. Actually, I was on stage. I was a boxer the other day.
Oh, really?
That was kind of fun. On the moon, so it was all in slow motion. It was pretty cool.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do things happen in slow motion on the moon? Because
No, that's what I was like.
Every time people act like they're on the moon, it's like in slow mo.
The only thing that's slow motion, right, is the up and down. It's not the.
But anytime somebody's acting like they're on the moon, it's always like
the whole thing slow motion. It's like, I think I made a comment. It was like, yes, this weightless and slow motion training will really help us. So
that's an interesting. I just thought about that. Wow.
All right. So as always, we want to talk a little bit. We have a tip from our last podcast. This is podcast number 96, and our tip is make your mobile strategy relevant, simple, personal, and rewarding. After rewarding, I have the ka-ching symbol twice. Actually.
Cha-ching.
Ka-ching. Yeah. So go back and listen to podcast number 96. You'll find out, what we talked about in terms of a mobile strategy. We do have looming or pending or around the corner the mobile SEO. So
yes.
We may even have like a little teaser. We're getting more sophisticated.
Yes.
We know we have to tease. Well, we know we don't have to tease our audience for you guys to come back, and we really appreciate that. You do know you can follow us, facebook.com/eWebStyle, twitter.com/eWebStyle, youtube.com/eWebStyle, podcasts at e-webstyle.com is how you can send us an email, and we do websites.
Yes, we definitely do websites.
And a little bit of news. I've gone through. There's a lot of really interesting, exciting things. We noticed some things here in the office with one of our clients and the actual SERP. So I think that's pretty exciting. We're going to talk about that. There's two beefs this week. We got a beef we're going to talk about later. Maybe a little bit in the Blank Stare news.
Okay.
And we got the Google Bing beef.
There you go. I'm going to say this. We have a special surprise at the end of today's podcast. So make sure you follow to the very, very end. Very special surprise. You guys hear it here first, and it's going to be huge. You're going to hear about it all the local. You probably hear about it South by Southwest, at HubSpot, at SES, SMX.
SIS.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Like, what's with acronyms in this industry?
Go figure. TMI.
Yeah, really.
Actually, not TMI. I guess that's backwards. Just throwing out whatever I know. Sorry about that. So, interesting things in the news. Social media, I like this headline. Social media gives your doctor an ulcer. And we're actually, with one of our clients, going to push them into social media. Mm-hmm. One of the things we're keenly aware of, and this is actually true of at least doctors and attorneys, you got to be very careful about the information you're putting out socially, because you cannot, if you're giving medical or legal advice, then if somebody takes your medical or legal advice and has a problem, they can come back and sue you.
Yes.
And since we live in the happy land ever, you got to watch out for that. So we know with our social, it's going to be more about things getting that practice involved in, and this is a good idea for anyone else out there doing social, getting involved in the community. So they're orthopedics, they do sports medicine, they're very much involved with local sports, high school sports, and everything. And as such, things we'll be tweeting about are like a great job Mustangs on Friday and things like that, so that they're more relevant in the community. Social media gives the doctor. Google declares war on content farm. So we could actually talk this podcast. There's a lot going on with Google, and we'll talk about the next thing. Actually, we're talking about them pretty much the whole podcast.
Okay. Did we discuss Google Bing last week?
The BIF,
fight?
yeah. We'll get to that here in a second because I got some good information. I just like this. It was actually in the news today. So Google declares war on content farms. what is a content farm? Maybe somebody's out there like, I know what a link farm is. That's kind of
Well, same.
Yeah.
Same basic concept.
I was going to try and trip you up, but it was kind of obvious, right?
But, my first thing was like, okay, but who the hell uses those? Well, people do use those. I felt like that was something that, we don't use those. And I felt like that's something that I used to see a lot of. I don't see link farms at all anymore.
Right.
I think they have pretty much, people don't even do it anymore.
Gone the way of the dodo.
Yeah, there you go. And but content farm, same concept, just a site that people put up and load it with a buttload of content.
Well, there's a couple of issues with content farms, right?
Mm-hmm.
First off, you've got what kind of impact is it having on search engine results pages, and the other is, why would you make a content farm? One is for inbound links, and because Google gives that credit, and obviously there's not going to be any value in it if Google's actually blocking you and not using you at all. The other is, if I'm just putting out a lot of crap content, I may pick up searches there, and if I'm running AdWords, and in fact in the whole Bing Google hullabaloo, there were some interesting things happened where Bing was saying, you guys kind of accusing Google of creating this thing.
Okay.
Right? One, if you value inbound links, then people are going to create inbound links. And two, if you have AdWords out there running and people can make money by getting some portion of some traffic, organic search traffic, and then turning that into dollars, then aren't you effectively creating it? By the way, it's actually a very valid point.
Yeah.
They
create, I can agree how Google creates the monster.
Yep. They created the link farm.
Yes.
They create the content farm. They'll probably create something else. I don't know, maybe image farms or something.
Yeah. Video farm.
Video farm.
Okay.
That would be YouTube. They own it.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably not going to ban themselves. Although they have banned their own pages before, put them in the supplemental because they were violating some of their own policies, which is kind of funny. And if you think that's pretty interesting, you should go back and Lord only knows what podcast it is, but it's one of our previous podcasts.
So basically, don't use content farms if you're doing your own SEO, or if someone else is doing it for you, make sure they're not linking or creating content farms.
By the way, I just mentioned like how many podcasts we have. We're on 97. Celebrate. Put your celebratory. We hit 104,000 podcast downloads.
That is what's up, man.
Yeah, I was thinking we were behind because the stats I'm pulling is a 12-month time frame, and I had old stats, and obviously as soon as we've been on air for more than 12 months, the data from the prior to those 12 months falls off.
Okay.
And so when I finally got the opportunity in my infinite spare time to throw that data together, it turns out we have 104,597 downloads of our podcast. That's because of you guys. Thank you very much. I am a little sad though. I mean, even after that there was no review. There was no review. I mean, we got 104,000 downloads, and we have
I'll write us a review.
20 reviews or something. Yeah, well, we have to remove you from administrator. Then you can write a review, and then
I get my mom to do it.
If you guys are getting good information, we really would appreciate either some link love from a website that you're working on. That would be great, or a blog that you're on, or go onto iTunes, create an account, submit a review, hit us back. We love to get back some link love. You can also go to our Facebook page, again, facebook.com/ewebstyle. If you're sitting on your computer, just pull it up right now. There's a tab that says reviews, and go in and throw in a review for us, and include your website in there. Obviously, that's good link practice anyway, and we'll get that read on air because we really appreciate when people are helping us out. And then I'm skipping all over here. I've got to make sure I don't miss anything. Our next podcast will be on Thursday because I'm going to be out of town on Friday. So our next podcast is on Thursday. We'll remember to say that on the end. By the way, you may be listening to this. You can actually watch the podcast live, 9:15-ish time, Central Standard Time, on Friday mornings. And if you just go to, and the easiest way to get there is ewebstyle.com/SEO podcast, and that'll take you to our SEO podcast page. And it's actually embedded right there so you can watch the live video. Otherwise, keep listening. We appreciate it either way. I know we are the Red Bull of SEO, so you can stay awake while you're driving. So we did an interesting thing. So Google's, they're making changes. They're changing their content farm. We spoke last podcast about how they made an algorithmic change to the content scraper, which took our SEO podcast off of the first page and out of the index, totally gone out of the index, and then how we kind of tweaked it to get it back in there. And guess what we did? We created content. In order to get it back in there, content. There's the content farm concept. There's the monster that Google's creating themselves, and they certainly have done that. Interesting things in local places. That's a huge one. Let's talk about that one, then we'll come back to the beef stuff.
Well, here's the title. I like this. This is a catchy title. This is how I want to wrap all this up of today's podcast. Traditional SEO is not enough. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, because I have to support that. Back in October, there was a major algorithmic change. So basically what I'm saying is that what you used to be able to do to get on the first page is no longer enough. Now, yes, today you might still be on the first page of Google for certain things, but we're kind of looking to the future. We always try to be a step ahead of the game. So just because you're on the first page today doesn't mean you'll be on there tomorrow. So with the way things are changing and going, the old school, the traditional SEO, just getting you some links, throwing up content, that's no longer enough. You have to take you have to expand your SEO, your grasp of SEO or what you're doing in SEO. SEO is becoming, there's more to it now. When we first started this podcast,
content.
Yeah, that's
links.
it. Links, we didn't
alt text.
Video. Video wasn't even something that big. So that's why I'm going to title it Traditional SEO is Not Enough. You got to have more. And that's what we'll go over. Today we're going to kind of go over what else you need to do. In addition to just the traditional, the content and the links and all that other stuff. Because I wrote some notes.
And what, I don't know if you remember, the Texas Orthopedics was a great example where we saw another change. Recently, within the last 3 months, right, Google started bringing in local places into the organic results. And we saw something really amazing this week, which was for a search term, and I think the search term was wrist Dr. Tomball, and that's a suburb, a little city that's north of Houston. Our client, TOSM.org, was in the third position. It was Google local places listing, and the link was to an internal website. So your Google local places, you usually have one, what's your website, and you link to your website.
Yeah,
in this case, it would be
your homepage.
Exactly, so it would be TOSM.org. In this case, it was TOSM.org / I think hand-wrist-doctor.asp or something. It was actually a Google local places listing there on the SERP linked directly into an internal website page. Never seen that before.
I've never seen that before.
And it's pretty interesting because, again, it's like what we've been talking about. Google's going to integrate the Google local places with organic search results. Interestingly enough, if you went and typed hand Dr. Tomball, TOSM was there organically, not their local places, or it was there, but the link was still the homepage. It wasn't an internal page. It should have been ostensibly that same page. So I think that's pretty exciting.
I think that's a huge change. I've always kind of traditionally thought that there was a separate algorithm for the natural listings and another algorithm for the 7-pack or 6-pack or however many that's there, with the maps. And it's starting to seem to me now that they're kind of merging the local algorithm into the natural algorithm, or if that makes any sense. So to me, that's a huge change now. So that's a case in point right there. Traditional SEO, just doing that before, that wouldn't get you there. Had we not optimized their local places listing, that probably would not have happened.
Yep.
So
I think actually, if I recall correctly, the word wrist is not in their local places listing.
It's not at all.
Right. So it really ostensibly shouldn't even be there, except for the fact that they've tied the two together, which is pretty exciting. By the way, we're running Google Boost. I sent another email because sometimes when you search for terms when you search for ewebstyle.com, at least in the Houston area, in the pay-per-click, because of Google Boost, there's our name. And I'm like, well, we're in the first position organically. So I sent him an email. I'm like, I don't want to pay if somebody clicks when they're obviously searching for us. That's crazy. It's a waste of money. And their argument was, well, we think it enhances branding. I'm like, but I don't need branding for my own name.
Yeah, thank you.
It's my own. They know my name.
We think what they're really saying is we think it increases the chances of someone clicking on it and you paying us money for that.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed. It was mostly canned, and the response, and then that part where like, oh, we think it helps you in branding. I'm like, it's my dollars. I'm telling you, I don't want to spend them on that. So I haven't written back on that one yet, but I will, because it's a little frustrating. I know how Matt Cutts felt when he was in his confrontation with Bing. By the way, there's a video, mattcutts.com. It's a 40-minute video. It's really good. I want to talk about the details here, so you don't have to go watch it, because it is 40 minutes. Google recently accused Bing of copying Google's results. And then Bing's retort is, well, we're not copying your results. We're just monitoring our listeners. I had another page. There we go.
We're not copying it. We're duplicating it.
Yeah.
Big difference.
We're monitoring our users. And by our users, they actually mean IE, not Bing. Because remember, Bing doesn't have, you can say Bing, I guess IE is Bing's browser, and so Chrome has theirs. Basically, when you're installing IE8, there is a screen where you either turn on suggested sites. It's called, do you want to discover websites you might like based on websites you've visited? And apparently, when you answer yes to this, you tell me, Paul, because I'm not sure. If you answer yes to this, would you believe that now MSN is actually collecting data when you're surfing on Google?
My first thought would be, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't think so. Now that I really think into it,
well, see, let's read it
I'd
again.
say no.
Do you want to discover websites you might like based on websites you've visited?
Oh no, I'm thinking, they're going to visiting. Oh, they know what else is out there. He might like this. I'm just thinking they're being helpful.
It doesn't say, would you like to share your data with Bing so as to increase the value of the Bing search engine? I mean, this is really disingenuous, and it was kind of, in my opinion, it was kind of ridiculous when Bing, I can't remember the guy, one of the lead guys at Bing was up there saying, oh, well, no, I mean, you guys use your click data, why can't we use our click data? And Matt Cutts said specifically, I can promise you, at no point do we, even if somebody's in Chrome using Bing, at no point do we use what they click on Bing in our search results. And at the end of the day, the whole trick was, and I think it's really interesting how Google actually found, let me take a step back, how Google actually found out that Bing was doing this. They noticed that in search results on Bing, of misspellings, it was actually displaying pretty much the same results as Google. The only thing is Bing doesn't do spelling correction.
Oh, like Google does.
Google does. Google says, oh, we think you meant this, and so we're going to show you this. Click here if you want to see the other. So a misspelled word, unless you're doing spell correction, there's no way the same results would come up. And so why for misspellings was Bing displaying the same thing as Google? So then Google actually made like a dysfunctional search with lots of characters and numbers and letters or whatever, and they gave bogus result. And then they had their employees go home, search on Bing, and click the result. So now because they're using IE, they're searching, not on Bing, on Google. They're searching on Google and then clicking the one result. Now Bing, MSN, IE is sharing that data with Bing and saying, hey, users of Google who happen to search for this ended up clicking on this. You might want to show that next time. I mean, it's a roundabout way, but the results are the same. You're copying Google's results. And it was really funny in that article, and I actually commented on Matt Cutts on his blog at the bottom, and I said, it's really interesting because Bing was insisting that it's Google's responsibility to clean up spam. And my comment was, ostensibly so that Bing could show Google's better results to Bing users?
I mean, I
why do you have to clean it up?
Something tells me that there was a lawyer in that conference at Bing when they were deciding to do that. They were like, okay, how much can we really get away with?
And then here's an article from Jared Newman. Google, please stop whining about Bing, and here's why. And I'm sorry, Jared Newman, he's from PC World. There's not a valid point in here. I mean, I do understand, like, getting your title and having it right so people can, and Google. One thing that I can say, I do understand the whining perspective. Matt Cutts is very passionate about search engine results. And if somebody's going to come out and say, we're not stealing, and it is so blatantly obvious that you are, I mean, maybe you're doing it in a roundabout way, but the end result is that you're displaying results that are on Google. And Bing's like, oh, why are you spending time on this? And is this worth your effort? And we're like, this is all veiled insults, right? You're copying our results.
Yeah, Google can say, why don't you just do the work yourself and come out with the best results, because that's how we became popular.
By the way, the only way Google is going to be pushed to get better is not if you're copying them. If it's you're finding your own algorithms and processes that make it better than them, then Google's going to have to do the same thing. So Bing is actually doing a disservice to search engines in general, saying, you know what? What they're saying is the best you could possibly do is Google, and we're going to try and achieve that.
Yes, because we can't do it better. We can't get any more relevant search results, which is kind of like admitting defeat. So.
All right. And by the way, in my comment, I was like, it brings a whole new meaning to the word Bing Who. Remember we were like Bing Who? Now it's like Bing Who. Yeah. Why don't you just use Google, because you're going to get the same results because they're copying from Google.
I use Google personally. I try to when we're working, try to look at every different search engine and browser. But personally, I use Google for everything because they have the most relevant search results. So hey, why don't you just do it the right way?
Was I on a rant there? That felt good. That felt really good. Let's see. The spell correct. I think I got all of this stuff. Did you want to throw out a teaser?
Well, before I get there, I want to throw out something again about the that's kind of related to the algorithm change that happened back in October. Basically, one of the other things that happened is that Google is giving more weight to user-generated content sites and all the different things. I was sitting speaking with someone earlier, later last week about what's affecting the
later.
Both
the later part of last week. Okay,
kind of what you need to do. He was with a PPC company, and we just kind of we're sharing information, talking about this and that. And he was saying, this is what you need to do. Basically, you have to have this and that and that and that. And he was saying, hey, Google is giving more weight to user-generated content, which is to me a fancy way of saying social media or blogs or things like that. And to me, it was this is another point as to why the traditional SEO, the old school way of doing things. We didn't even talk about social media when we first started this podcast 2 years ago. So,
did it even exist? I think barely. Well, certainly it did in MySpace.
I think I'd been on Facebook for like 3 days or something by the time we started the podcast. So that's another change in how. So not only do you know, if you're doing SEO now and you want to get on that first page, or maybe you're there and you want to stay there, because I believe this year we'll see more changes come through. You need to be doing everything. You need to have the traditional SEO, the content, the links, the right keywords on your website. But now you have to have a local places listing. It has to be optimized. Go back to podcast number blah 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 and figure out and listen to that. So you need to do you basically need to be doing local SEO, if that makes any sense. You need to be using user generated content. If you have a blog, use it.
You need to be blogging.
Thank you. Social media, you need to use it.
You need to be Facebooking.
Thank you. Video, you need to be doing that as well.
You need to be
videoing. Yeah. I believe that, and there was an article I want to say that you handed me about how video is becoming just more and more important.
Yeah.
And that was part of the algorithm change. Video is more important. You need to have videos on your site. You can't be, well, obviously we talked about don't use content farms at all, and you need to be doing mobile as well. So these are all, if you're not on the first page, you're not where you want to be, you need to be doing all of this. If you are on the first page, you still need to be doing all of this because there's no guarantee that you'll be there tomorrow. And like we talk a lot, we'll say, hey, be ahead of the game. You know that there's more content changes that are coming. Be ahead of the game so when it does happen, you're ready to go.
Yep.
You've got your mobile app, you got your Facebook, you got this.
Well, when those other algorithmic changes happen and continue to happen, those changes actually push your website up.
Yes.
Not down.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of our listeners, they'll send us links. Hey, check this out. I'm doing this, and I can say one guy, and I always shout out to this guy, Dean. Dean Calhoun at Affagility, man. This dude is on the ball. He's got the mobile app. He's got this, he's got that. So I'm
in
like,
an industry where the sexiness is not the selling point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in
environmental health and
safety. So the app is actually about the value that the app brings. It's not about let's be sexy and have an app with a video in it or something. So it's pretty cool.
I guess a better title than traditional SEO is not enough. Is just be ahead of the game. Watch everything that's happening and try to be a step ahead of all of your competitors in doing that. So, and I think that is it. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about mobile. I'm going to give you one snippet for the next podcast.
Right, let's hold that snippet.
Okay.
All right, let's bring out our third top position snatcher. Would that be the third musketeer of the top? Third? I don't know. There's probably some creative way to say that, which he would come up with because he's also known as the SEO rapper. So he certainly would be able to put that phraseology together. Let's bring him out.
The B.A. Baraga of the A team of SEO.
Yeah,
Charles Lewis.
Come on out.
B.A. Baraga.
That's
the first.
All right, I just came up with that.
All right, did we get everything right? Did we miss anything in what we covered so far? I know you're
back there listening and laughing. You guys are a trip. Yeah, for the most part you did. I did want to tell everybody, if you're going to South by Southwest, Monday, 12:30, I think it's at the Hilton. There's I think it's gonna be a follow-up to
the video.
To that video, with Danny Sullivan. I believe he's gonna kind of manage it. Yeah, they got the guy Dwayne. He's one of the engineers at Bing,
right?
And Matt is gonna be there as well. And so I'll
be
definitely
like, ding, round 2.
It's gonna be remember Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV?
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Hands, blood squirting.
If you're going to South by Southwest, make it your business to be there.
And take a parka.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be blood everywhere.
Yeah. Here's my snippet.
Wait. So let's save that for last. This is our little teaser. I know you had a shout out that you wanted to give.
I got a couple shout outs.
A huge one.
I got a couple shout outs. First shout out to, and these shout outs come with questions as well from Twitter. Shout out to Dave Gibbons. That's Dave 2511. His question was, how do you choose which keywords to optimize for?
That's a good question. I mean, that's important, and we've got a podcast that, what do we say? Real estate is location. SEO is keywords. If you're optimizing for the wrong keywords, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, so my quick answer to that, Dave, would be research. One of the things we do here is we use our data from pay-per-click to kind of determine which key phrases will be best suited for optimization.
Yep.
And so that, along with your typical Google results, which key phrases bring the most traffic using, different external tools or whatnot. And then if they bring the most traffic, you search them. The people who are your target tend to search them or use those phrases, and they're getting good data in PPC, I would probably optimize for that phrase.
And basically what we end up doing is talking to our clients and asking our clients, because we had the HVAC client who had one particular term that they used, a mechanic or
I think it was MEP.
MEP,
mechanical, electrical, plumbing.
And MEP is not something we would ever think of in terms of an AC or heating guy. That was a term that they were able to share with us and say, oh, this is something that somebody in our industry might use.
Yeah, find your industry terms.
And in general, like if you're the business owner, it's like what would I search if I were a client and I wanted to find me?
My company.
Like
yeah.
what are the things that they're going to be searching? So that's the real question that you're going to ask.
And
yourself.
here's a good answer. Ask an SEO professional.
Yeah, I like that.
Because I'll tell people all the time, when we're going to do it, I'm going to say, hey, you come up with a list of keywords you want. I'm going to come up with a list, and then we'll put them together because you know more about your industry than I do.
Absolutely.
I want to give another shout out to Kevin Gallagher. Excuse me if I crucified your last name. And that's at kevinjgallagher.com. Me and him actually had a back and forth.
Right.
He posed the question, why did we mention that Google may use time on site
right
in their rankings.
Right.
And so my response was, I'm pretty sure they use bounce rate because
it makes
it's
sense.
reported in Google Analytics. It makes sense, and I'm pretty sure they run some form of analytics on all the sites in their index. Kevin then responded with a link from Matt Cutts, where Matt said, no, we don't use Google Analytics on our ranking. And so, thank you for sending that. But Kevin, what I should have said was not necessarily the Google Analytics that has the code in the footer of your site. I don't think they're doing that because every site doesn't have that. Most of them do. But I think they do track clicks. They may not be tracking how long people stayed on your site and which pages they went to for the sites in their index. But I think they are tracking when that click came, when that click left. When did that click go to another result in the search?
So so if you've got a search engine result with 10 results, of course, and somebody clicks number 2, Google knows the time frame from the time they click link number 2 to link number 3. Now there's a lot of room for error in that, right? Because sometimes if I'm desperate for information fast, I'll hit Shift, which is, by the way, here's a hot key. If you hit Shift and hit a link, it'll actually open a new browser. So I'll go click, 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 click. I'll click like 4 things. I got 4 new windows coming up, and I'm like, give me that information fast. The client's website is down, or whatever it may be. I got to have that information fast, and so obviously that would skew the results.
And then they also have like over 200 ranking factors, right? So the percentage of that being used is probably minuscule to say the least. But I think it may take some effect.
I haven't studied this in a while, but this was well over a year ago that I read that Google was taking bounce rate into account in the search engine results pages because that is it's kind of a metric that measures relevancy. So if you're not relevant, you bounce, and so and now this was well over a year ago, so I still believe that they may not use, like you said, traditional analytics on your site, but I think they run their own analytics and figure out, hey, people go here and they don't like this site. Why would I return this site when 99% of the people that go here don't stay? So why would I put this in the first position or even on the first page?
I want to shout out to Garrett as well. Garrett, I sent you your analysis. You didn't get back at me. What's up with that?
We put time into those things. By the way, you can get a free website analysis. Just go to e-webstyle.com. On the right, there's a little form. You can search around. I think we have a longer form somewhere. Just fill out that simple form and send that in. You can have a top position snatcher do an analysis.
I need one of y'all to send me that email.
Okay.
I can probably talk about this off air, but
okay.
I still didn't get that. I still haven't got that email from
them. You could talk about this off air.
Anyway, so he asked the question, what do we think about the whole JCPenney thing?
Oh,
He asked that not too long ago, actually, right before I got up.
This really ties into the whole content farm, link farm. Does. Google created their own monster thing.
Yeah, I just think, I think that JCPenney knew what was going on, but since they had a third party managing it for them, they can act like they did.
Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
But they knew what was.
I agree.
The way it happened, how they were coming up first, like above brand names for under brand name searches.
Well, the one example I like is Little Black Dress.
Yeah.
Like really, JCPenney. I mean, that's not the first place I
Don't take that, JCPenney.
No, don't punch them in the face. They're not a customer yet.
So that's what's up with that. I think that that they knew, they seen, and then the funny thing about it was that all of that happened right before the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
and so they got this influx of sales, right? Everybody's holiday shopping, online shopping, and so I think they sacrificed it. They wanted it. They made a lot of money, and so be it, right?
Yeah.
They're
Now they're scrambling for more another SEO, white hat, reputable SEO company.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
Yeah, we're here. Y'all want blank stare now?
Yeah.
It's a blank stare.
Right.
That's blank. That's
Yeah,
blank
That's all the
stare.
way blank.
That's why you gotta watch the video because you get to see
you
those
can't
blank
see that
stares.
blank stare. I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody who gets blank stare. Anyway, dude named Aaron Goldman.
Aaron Goldman.
Yeah, Aaron
Goldman.
Goldman. He's the CMO at a company called Kenshu. Pretty savvy internet marketing guy.
Yeah.
Has some great work. Wrote a book called Everything I Know About Marketing I Learned from Google. Okay.
Good thing it wasn't JCPenney.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so due to the recent success of PageRank, which I did like 2 years ago.
PageRank, his rap video,
Yeah.
available on YouTube.
Yeah, and at the SEOrapper.com. And so it got some exposure. Long story short, Aaron came up with a name, the PPC MC.
Right.
He
Right.
came at me like, I want to battle. I stopped, man, I haven't battled since high school. And so he was like, no, I want to battle. And so, I denied it. No, I'm going to chill. I don't want to do that. So then he posted this video on YouTube. Matter of fact, I'll send the link out. He YouTubed his video rapping with his microphone and his hat turned back, looking like Vanilla Ice's nephew. And he's coming at, he's calling me out. Chuck, you're not ready. Then blah 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 blah. And so I responded again. Matter of fact, I polled Twitter and Facebook.
Oh yeah, went out and said, hey, who thinks
should
I
I
should
do
battle?
this?
Yeah.
Who should I do? Should I don't? So the response is kind of even. All of my industry friends, Chuck is hip hop. He called you out. You do what you got to do. Sell it, squash him, kill him.
Kill-
Right?
kill
All my
it.
marketing people was like, it may be some good pub. Don't do it. He's not ready. You know more. Blah blah blah. So
Some of the information was wrong in his actual rap. Oh wait, that was me.
Then he came back. He came back again with a whole posted his lyrics. Got a conference coming up in May called SIS, Search Engine Summit. Wants to do the live battle there. And so, with all that said, I did a response.
Ooh, all right.
I did a
Yeah.
response. The response video is actually uploading right now to YouTube as we speak. And so, after the podcast, I'll shoot the link out. You go watch it, Aaron Goldman. I sent you one directly, so you probably watch it now. Coming at you, I gave you a warning. I tried to back down.
Pull back. You should pull back.
I'm going in.
By the way, the whole acronym thing we were talking about, too many acronyms. You got 2 full words in your title. He's just the PPC MC. He hasn't even got like 1 word in his name.
Yeah, and I'm Master PPC. That's another thing. Like, I can stomp your domain.
Oh,
That's what's up.
And that is what's up.
That is. Everybody go check out the video, click it, like it, post it, retweet it. Let's get a battle. Let's get a battle. Let's get them to battle at SES. Let's get the SES to sponsor them.
SIS.
SIS.
SIS, yeah. So
SIS is in.
it's in Florida.
In Florida.
Somewhere like down South Florida. The pictures look cool. So yeah, I'll come battle you on
Oh
the
yeah,
beach.
that's way out on the key or something. Yeah.
Cool.
Battle you on the beach, son.
That's what's up.
That is what's up. Do we want to give a teaser? No, this is too good information. Let's just end it on that.
Yes.
Go
Next week, mobile SEO. Mobile SEO.
Yeah. Speaking of mobile, I will say this: May I'll be out in Chicago for the Mobile SEO University. It's pretty cool, doing some awesome things out there. March, I'll be at HubSpot in Kingtown. So y'all stay tuned. I'll be checking in. If I check in where you at, come holler at me.
You can actually stalk him now because he's going to be out on the road.
Should be at South by Southwest. So I'll be checking in wherever I'm at. So yeah,
Hit him up. Find him. Excellent. Thank you guys for listening to and watching podcast number 97. This is the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes or 10s, or top 10. That's because of you. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you tune in. Remember that video for the next podcast will be filmed on Thursday, 9:15ish time. We'll make sure we'll get that out on Facebook and Twitter so you guys can follow us. And thank you guys again. Go on to our website, e-webstyle.com. Fill out a form, do a free website analysis for you and your friends.
You're going to Panama?
Yes.
Any listeners we have in Panama?
Yeah.
Hit us up.
I'm gonna be in Panama starting the 30th, I think. So the first week in April. So yeah, hit us up. See if anybody's down there is listening, and
that'd be cool. Do we have? I don't know if we ever had any listeners in Panama, have we?
I haven't noticed any. So
we're on the hunt for listeners in Panama.
If you know, so forward this to somebody you know in Panama. I think they do like English call centers. I know they do it in Costa Rica, so in Panama. So there's lots of English speakers that
the Panamanian punch in the face.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how to describe that.
That's what's up.
Awesome.
It's like a quick dance step.
Yeah. Bang. Little hip. Gotta have the hips side to side. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Until the next podcast, my name's Chris Burris.
Paul Hanson.
Charles Lewis.
Bye for now.